Recently, I had a couple of clients who were dealing with really intense internal shifts in consciousness, and I wanted to talk about it because I think it's something that it's hard to put into words, and we don't really have a context for it socially. So this first client came to me and just didn't know what the hell was going on, basically. And when I tuned into them, I could see how it was almost like someone had jet fuel over them, a jet engine, and periodically they were being absolutely blasted with all of this energy. And what was coming through was on a soul level that they'd agreed to do this intense clearing and cleansing, but not only for themselves but for their community. And in that circumstance it meant their family and also an area where they were from. And what was coming through was it was not to worry, because it wouldn't be happening if they weren't capable of surviving it, and it was going to be an intense period. There was advice that came through around, rest when you can, you've just got to breathe through it, explain to your loved ones what's going on, just take yourself off when it starts happening, and it really is a case of just like surviving through the intensity of it. And for them, their term was, I feel like I'm going to blow a gasket. I think there was real fear that the experience was so intense that it was just going to blow their minds, quite literally. But it's what came through was, it's not going to last forever. You have agreed to it, and it's going to be okay. So on a different level of consciousness, like her higher self had already agreed to do this, and it was a kind of a energetic karmic clearing for all of these individuals. And sometimes we can do that because actually they can't do it for themselves, and we are capable of it, and we want to help. But on a conscious level, we don't know what's going on, and it's frightening and it's intense, and it can be a bit too much. And I think it's actually going to become more common as we're seeing the kind of collective consciousness evolving, that some of us are taking on these roles, or we might have, these intense experiences. I'll just let that go over. I'll do a little dance in the meantime. I don't know what that dance was. So yeah, another client, similar-ish but different, because actually their internal clearing was about themselves, and basically their guides were very present, and they were saying, look, we've been saying you need to do this work and you've not done it, and now you've got to get on with what you've been called to do, what you're meant to do here, and therefore it's got to happen rapidly, and it's going to be more intense. So it's kind of looking at like a 3-4 month period where, again, energetically I could see them almost shaking and feeling vulnerable, and it's because there's these shifts mentally and emotionally. There's this clearing out that's going on, this up-leveling that's happening, and yet they've got to get on and drop their daughter off and see their clients and all the rest of it. So it's like we're doing this mystical work in the face of our everyday lives, and it's tough. It's really tough, and it can be full on, and we can't always communicate. Like, I'm struggling, this kind of intense energy is coming through me, and sometimes we can fear, how long is it going to go on? Am I actually going to survive it? So yeah, so sometimes the healing work, I know for me, when I used to think about transformation and change, I kind of thought it was lovely and sparkly, and won't it be amazing? And actually it can be intense and deeply uncomfortable and unsettling, because something has to crash and break away and be released before the new comes in, and that's very, very unsettling as well. So, but I guess the promised land is afterwards. The number of times I've learned that actually I know I feel so much better, or I have so much more mental clarity, or there's sense of expansion, or an increased amount of love, or a much more resolved sense of purpose, is always good in the end once we get through it. And I know the longest period for me that ever happened was like 1.5 years, of the trauma clearing. So that was full on. But for a lot of us it isn't as long as that, and we can always be asking intuitively, like, what the hell and how long is this happening for, to try and get some answers, but knowing that actually we will be all the better for it.